Going, and you've got the floor.
That's very official. Recording in progress, almost like we're in court.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to, and I apologize to folks up front. I am multitasking with another event here at UConn Stanford, but wanted to just spend a few moments and welcome everyone. And thank you all for joining today's quarterly sector partnership meeting. For those who have not met me or who do not know me, I'm Daryl Johnson. I can't call myself the new, but I can say I'm the newish executive director. I'm about 4 months in of the Stanford Partnership. And I think most know, but we're a civic organization that works to strengthen the for individuals and organizations here in Stanford and Lower Fairfield County. So again, Daryl Johnson would love to offline spend time with folks on a simple but powerful idea that employers, educators, and workforce leaders are stronger when we all collaborate and work together. And over the last few years, we've come together across industries, institutions, and organizations to respond to real workforce needs with a focus on a few shared goals, smart strategies, and what we all desire, some strong outcomes. So a very special thank you goes out to the industry leaders who helped to shape this work since 2022. Um, and through the critical period of delivering on our grant opportunities, specifically the Good Jobs Challenge over the past 2 years. I would say that, and I've learned a lot from Patricia, but the insight and partnership and engagement that you've provided has ensured that our efforts are not only aligned with employer needs, but also responsive to real-time changes in the tech economy. So we really do thank you for that. Final thing I'll say is there's been a deep collaboration between our organization, the Stanford Partnership, and the workplace. And as co-conveners, we have worked hand in hand to design, support, and grow this partnership. And I want to thank the folks from the workplace for their commitment to this work. So, Patricia has a an amazing morning with a very packed agenda for you guys, starting with a panel featuring tech ready training program participants who are now actually working in the field. Post that, you'll hear a labor market update from Madison Myers from the Business Higher Education Forum. Our good friend Mark Lazarus will provide updates on tech ready outcomes and share how employers can connect with this growing talent pipeline. And then we'll spend some time at the end wrapping up with some general Q&A. So the very last thing I want to do, and I am big on showing gratitude, is provide some thanks in advance of the speakers. So to Jack Mahoney from Indeed, from moderating the panel, we thank you. To our incredible Tech Ready participants, we appreciate you guys greatly for sharing your journeys. To the guy who gets it all done, Mark Lazarus at the workplace. Really, really appreciate Mark's leadership, his passion for the work, and also to Madison Myers from the Business Higher Education Forum. We appreciate you bringing those high impact insights, which we'll hear about later. So, with that, let's get started with our first segment and move over to the Tech Ready panel that's moderated by Jack Mahoney from Indeed.
Thanks, Daryl. Appreciate you welcoming us. And Hello, everyone. Thank you for making the time this morning. I am honored to be here to talk and lead this panel with some of the Tech Ready program participants. I'm going to kick us off by having everyone introduce themselves to give their name and sort of their current role and what program they were in through the Tech Ready program. I'm going to also drop in the chat the list of the participants. And if you have any questions that you would like to have asked, just please add those to the chat section. And if there's any you'd like to address to any particular participant, please do so. And I'll try to incorporate that as a part of the panel. So first off, let's start with Lexi. Please introduce yourself. Thank you.
Oh, Lexi or Alexi?
Lexi.
Oh, okay. Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. So, I'm Lexi Harako. I am currently the LPN Administrative Assistant on behalf of Goodwin University here located at the University of Bridgeport Satellite Campus. I attended um, the Information Technology program hosted by Mark Lazarus. Nice to meet everyone.
Thanks, Lexi. Rich, why don't you go next?
Hello, everyone. Happy Friday. Glad the sun came out. Um, my name is Richard Collins. I was part of the Tech Ready program through Mark Lazarus I got my first program was in Python 1, and I just finished the AWS Cloud Practitioner. Um, I currently am employed with 1199 New England Healthcare's Employee Union. I'm not part of the union, I'm part of the fund office. Um, and my title is a technology administrator. Nice to meet you all.
Great. Thanks, Rich. All right, now the other somewhat Alexi, over to you.
Yeah, okay. Yes, my pleasure to be here. So my name is Alexi Proharchik. I currently work at Capital as a data data analyst. For again, I went through Workplace with Mark Lazarus. I took Python 1, Python 2, and Gen AI. That's it.
Great. Thanks, Alexi. Next up is Tim.
Hi. Can everybody hear me okay? Awesome. My name is Timothy Abbas. I am currently working at Hospital for Special Care as a IT technician. I started off actually with the workplace through Alexandra Langston, took my CompTIA A plus, and then moved on through the program um, with Tech Ready, and I'm currently taking generative AI. I think that class just ended, and also AWS Cloud certifications as well. So thank you all for having me this morning.
Great. Thanks, Timothy. And I see Mark just joined us. So I will let him introduce himself. He is the man that made all of this happen. So, Mark, welcome. Thanks for joining.
Apologies for my tardiness. I was jumping from another meeting. My name is Mark Lazarus. I'm the program manager, information technology at the workplace for the Tech Ready Career Training Program. And I'm in a great partnership with Stanford partnership with Ms. Patricia Meyer and Mr. Daryl Johnson. We provide stackable credentials to get people trained, micro internships. We do resume writing. We do a lot of mentoring, and basically try to get them to a job. We are now doing more resume analysis to find the right job for that person. One of the first participants was Mr. Timothy Abbas when we did an analysis of his skill sets and found that right job posting that matched his skill sets. But I just want to thank you all for the time for having me here, and I hope you all be able to hear the great stories of these remarkable individuals because only thing I can do is provide a path. It's up to them to walk through it. So they were able to listen to a bald, crazy person. So it is a great thing to see them all succeed.
Thanks, Mark. All right, why don't we jump in to hear a little bit more from the participants? So, Timothy, why don't we start with you? Could you tell us a little bit originally what drew you into the tech program? What were you hoping to get out of the program itself?
Yes, so originally I was pursuing my education in healthcare. So I worked as a CNA and I worked for various different healthcare agencies, doing some at-home work, um, livings and things of that nature. Um, and I was studying biochemistry also at the time, but I came at a junction where I felt like I needed to shift in my career path. My dad, a little bit of background about me, my dad is actually a computer technician for many years, and that's how I kind of learned some of the grassroots of technology. But um, I didn't really want to just pursue something because, that's what my dad did. I kind of had my own passions and my own interests. So in pursuing that, I was not financially where I wanted to be. And I needed to kind of at least jumpstart that aspect of my life. And so I went to the workplace and CT hires and sought out assistance. And that's where I came across, the Tech Ready program. And um, I forgot the name of the program with Andrea Alexandra Langston, but she got me started off with the A plus, and once I, moved from there and really started to dig into some of what the possibilities were when it comes on to technology at the time. I really didn't know too much about the industry, so I spent a lot of time trying to learn how can I actually grow as a professional in this industry. And I spoke with Mark um, actually sometime around March this year, and he was able to provide me with a complete rundown and kind of broaden my scope and my viewpoint of what's really possible. And so I put a lot of time and effort into trying securing these certifications. My A plus and my Security Plus certification, and I'm still going to get on more that could help me become more useful within the work environment. So that's how I kind of got started. I'm still studying, I'm still in school, but now I've kind of migrated from the healthcare side over into the IT side. So I'm currently studying computer information systems at CT State, in addition to taking the courses here at Tech Ready.
That's great. Thanks, Timothy. All right, Lexi, you're at the Goodwin College now, but what drew you to the Tech Ready program, and what were you hoping to get out of it?
So originally, before I was employed by Goodwin, I was located on one of the CT State campuses, working for Follett Bookstore. I absolutely enjoyed the job. I love working with literature. Always been a big fan and kind of a bookworm. However, I knew that it was time to make a transition just because financially, some of the aspects were lacking, and I knew that it was time to shift in a better direction. And I just want to tip my hat and say thank you to Mark for leading me on this journey to a better place. Um, Initially, I was interested in the Tech Ready program just because I've always been drawn to technology and found that I was actually really good at it, and I enjoyed learning a lot of the concepts. So now, in my current role as the LPN assistant, I can apply some of the skills that I learned in Mark's program here.
Great.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
All right, Richard, could you share a little bit about something that might have been a surprising or unexpected about entering the tech workforce after you had gone through your trainings? I know we talked a little bit on Wednesday, so we'd love to hear a little bit more and share with the folks.
Sure. Yeah, I was very pleased to see that this program was available. I mean, I've been in the IT field since 1996, so I'm a lifelong IT. Um, some people say guru, but I'm, an IT technician and engineer. I've been in the field for a long time, and um, I ended up getting unemployed. The contract I was on after 18 years ended up, they laid a lot of people off, and then I did end up getting another job It seems like there was a lot of in the field. There seems to be that there's a lot of outsourcing, and you end up going from one consulting firm to another. But what happened, I ended up getting laid off, and I went through unemployment. I did some side work, and eventually I got a email from the state of Connecticut, for it was a platform to employment program that um, you know they they're trying to get people back to work. So I was very pleased about that. And I went through updating my LinkedIn, updating my resume, doing a lot of interviews, and for some reason it was very difficult to get back into the industry that I've been working in for so long. But when the Tech Ready program kind of came across, I was very fortunate that I was able to rebuild some of my skills. So I was very surprised that um, there's a program like this that came out, and I'm very grateful that it did. It was there, and it definitely helped me get back into the workforce. So I was very surprised that there was Southern Connecticut State University was there. They had their programs that helped. Mark came to visit me at my office. He took my picture. So I was very grateful that I was able to get back into the workforce. So I'm thankful. So that's what makes me very surprised.
Well, thanks for sharing, Rich.
You're welcome.
Alexi, one question that I think folks on this call are interested in understanding is, obviously a lot of these folks are employers, and those that will be watching this later are employers as well. One of the big questions, and certainly at Indeed, I appreciate this, is sort of the job search and the hiring process. So could you share a little bit about how the program helped you prepare for the job search and what that hiring process looked like? And what are some of the resources that were available to you through Mark and the team?
Oh, awesome. Good question. So basically, yeah, I was about to graduate, right? And start applying for jobs. And I'm a finance major. I went to business school within UConn. And what was happening, I couldn't find anything. And all the jobs within financial, like financial analysts, were asking for like Python, R, SQL. And last year, and I was like realizing I have to learn more on top to just get my foot in the door. And I was actually looking, taking like Python courses, self-paced. That was a little difficult because you have to like, force yourself to like sit down. Whereas this opportunity came up. It was advertised within the university. Uh, Basically, and I actually read emails that basically university sends out in mass, like with different opportunities. And I clicked on it, and it actually sounded too good to be true. I met Mark. Mark explained everything, signed up, and like coding looked like magic, and then it actually made sense. I was like, it kind of in bits and pieces, it explained everything, how to approach this knowledge. And made me more confident actually applying for those jobs when I asked for Python, for SQL. So basically, I started applying for more jobs. And then Mark was also, sending some opportunities saying, hey, you should look into this. You should look into this. And what happened was one of the opportunities, I was able to get my foot in the door. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, that's great. Unfortunately, Excel doesn't cut it anymore, it seems.
No, not enough.
So Mark, staying on the theme of the hiring process, I would love to hear from you and your vantage point at the workplace on what you have seen to be the most critical factors in successful placement of candidates.
That's a really good question. Now what we're seeing, because we had a great analysis done by myself and Patricia, and we're talking to employers. They're looking for experience, like entry level we want entry level people. They want people to have 2 to 3 years experience. So one of the biggest things that we had to do is think, be agile in our thinking, saying how do we get individuals that don't have the experience. So that's why I start coming up with the micro internships and having them do project-based work So then it shows that they did the work for those real companies, that it actually has the skill sets that the people need. Then also too is the interview practice, right? And resume writing. A lot of times people forget that we AI is used everywhere, and it's even used when you submit it into Workday or any other place. So then we rewrote people's resumes to make it ATS compliant, to make it where it's AI detection and filter bypassing, professional, recruiter friendly, HR approved, so it can get right through. And then I remember I sent an email about Alexi to a recruiter, and it's also to the messaging when you talk to a recruiter. And I remember getting an email from Alexi like, "Wow, you made me feel real special." Because I wrote about, it's about creating that narrative and sending that out so people have it, even the cover letter. Plus, also too, you gotta look at the interviewing process. So, like I was talking about Timothy, when he went for his interview, we did interview prep. Then what we did is I gave him the exact questions that the recruiters will be asking. Then I gave him Rosetta Stone so that he'll be able to read and answer those questions, because this is his first going out to his first career. And I remember Timothy calling me and saying, "Mark, these are the exact questions that they asked me. I still use them because they went step by step by step, because you all need those certain things." And for Lexi, we just, a lot of times we sat back and getting them ready. It's really building the confidence up because they already have the skill sets. They have what it takes. Like for Rich had everything what it takes. He just needed some of the skill sets. So it's for each person where you have to, is individually, to really build them up in different ways. And then you send them off. I always say I'm like kind of like a dad that lets the kids teach a kid how to ride a bike, but they hopefully don't hit a car. So I'm sitting there when they get that job, I'm just waving, and then hopefully they don't crash. And if something happens, they just give me a call. But it's really individually. It's like that's why the beauty of the program is that it's intensive case management, because I talk to each and every one of them. Each and every one of them has heard that I will be your stalker, but I'm not going to be in your bushes, right? It's really because I want to know what's going on. And that's how really in the market, they need that kind of like intensive case management to make sure that they're going there. But really, it goes to a whole gambit thing. The skill sets, talking to people like Mr. John Bemison, knowing what they would need, like for when we were talking about DevOps, John, last year, and making sure that these individuals have DevOps or they have generative AI, they have these certain things. So, and then what you do too in the market is that you can't be a specialist these days. You have to be a journalist, because when you talk to an employer, they're like, what else they got? What else they got? So when it does too with this program, what I do is try to make it where they're not pigeonholed into one career. So Alexi's in finance, but now wait, if he wants to go into data management, he can go into data management if he wanted to, right? Lexi is in the nursing program, but now she can go to be a compliance officer because she knows about compliance and she's using it right now at her job. Rich Collins could be a programmer if he wants to, because he's now doing it. He's the master of all trades at his job, but he's now able to be a programmer. He can go do cloud. And now Timothy, he has not just the cloud, he has generative AI, and he has all these other things. So now he has security plus. He can go be a SOC analyst if he felt like it. So he's not stuck. And that's the biggest thing in this economy. You can't be pigeonholed, because if you are, then, I've learned when I was in IT, you had guys that were in the mainframe. So I'm just a mainframe guy, and that's what happened. And when servers came in, those individuals got removed. And I was able to move forward because I was willing to evolve. So that's really, in a long-winded way, how the market is really talking about and getting these individuals jobs.
Yeah, that's great, Mark. Thank you. As someone that works at Indeed, I can appreciate and I will reiterate the challenge that sort of ATSs and these application systems create for mass applications, and you really have to sort of figure out the unique situation you are in as a candidate and apply that to the company you're applying for. So why don't we continue to focus on how employers on the calls today can help support candidates like yourselves. So I'm going to go around the panel of participants and would love for you to answer the question, which is, what's one thing that employers could do to help more candidates like yourself succeed both in their companies or in their industry? Um, what what could help support yourselves? So Timothy, why don't we start with you?
Yes, I think that's an incredible question because For someone like myself who was a complete beginner, I did stress a little bit in the beginning about how would I actually find a role. And I was doing, like I said, I did a lot of research and I had a lot of resources coming from Mark uh, to figure out, what is the fastest way I could get into a role. And I didn't necessarily want to be really far away from home or have to travel long distances just to get to work, just to find a position. So I had a lot of assistance from Mark. I don't know if I had so many jobs sent to me through Mark that I was unable to actually apply for everything. So the amount of resource that I had was incredible. But in terms of one thing that can make it easier from the employer's side is being open to definitely hiring people from non-traditional backgrounds, such as myself. I'm coming from a healthcare background. And one of the things that my employer actually said stood out to him was that I came from that background and I was very diverse in that I worked with, kids, and I worked with the elderly and I had empathy and I was compassionate and I knew how to speak. I had an approachable personality and I was it was friendly and bubbly, and I knew how to converse well with others, especially within this space. And even though my role is fundamentally IT, I think that my non-traditional experience really helped to bolster my chances of getting into this role. And I think that if other employers kind of adapt that kind of attitude where they're able to see people from a different perspective, um, I think I think it could be a game changer for the industry. The opportunities like for mentorship or for internship, um, if I saw more of those, I don't know, maybe I could have landed a role somewhere else a bit sooner. But I really haven't seen a lot of that within the industry, so maybe that is something else that employers could consider to help the hiring process become a little bit easier. And it also gives, employees an opportunity to feel out prospective candidates to see whether or not, they would be a really good fit for the position. That's my take.
Thanks for sharing, Timothy. That is great. Now, Lexi at Goodwin, what would you recommend for employers today to help candidates like yourself?
Well, I think I would like to piggyback off of the idea that employers would greatly benefit from hiring or at least searching amongst the pool of talent where there are a lot of candidates with diverse backgrounds. And the reason why I can't stress this enough is that for me, um, I'm in the nursing program. Previously, I did mention I come from a background in more of the um, higher education side where I was working with students directly. Um, so for me, I would like to consider myself like a jack of all trades. And I think that with this skill set, um, employers, when they're looking for a potential candidate to hire and onboard them, they should be more open-minded because for people like myself, as well as the other participants, we offer a lot of different skills and insight, and we have a lot to bring to the table. So employers may be inclined to hire someone with the traditional IT background to fulfill whatever position that they're looking for. However, I would like to also offer some insight and say that when you're looking for candidates, I definitely do believe that when you cast your net far and wide, you'll be able to draw in more people and you'll have more of a selection. So you can, when in the process of, say, interviewing, I think it would be beneficial for employers to thoroughly not investigate, but inquire about each person's background So for myself, I don't have a background in nursing, and I probably um, would not continue um, to pursue nursing. However, I do believe that the skill sets that I do offer with my background in technology really would be a resource to nursing programs, just because I can be that person to lend a helping hand and assist when dealing with information such as HIPAA, FERPA. It's very important in these settings to maintain compliance and just be mindful of things like that. So when searching for, or well, when searching through the pools of talent, it would be beneficial for employers to consider alternate options that weren't there, weren't on their radar, um, I would say. Thank you.
Great suggestion, Lexi. Thank you. Rich, for you, someone who's had a significant amount of experience in IT, but was challenged to get sort of back in, what were some of the recommendations that you might have to employers?
I think some of the best recommendations that I can make is that it seems like employers today, they're a lot more picky when it comes to who they want to employ or who they want to bring on board. Um, I was baffled by, the experience that I had, and I had hundreds of jobs that I just couldn't land because there was either one thing I didn't have that they wanted, or employers are looking for people to have a lot of knowledge and a lot of different things, and sometimes I think they don't look at if somebody's been in the industry for a long time, technology changes. And to be somebody who is able to adapt and learn new, you know, technologies, voice, servers, cloud, and for you to be denied a job because you just didn't know what level, on the OSI model of networking, you didn't know one thing or you couldn't elaborate on it good enough. Um, I think they're being a little too picky. Um, so that's what I found in a lot of the interviews and conversations I've had with employers. It was, one little thing that they were looking for. I had a really great opportunity with a company, and then when they brought me in for the interview, I had to interview with six people, and they started like really getting into things that weren't even part of what the position was supposed to be for, what they advertised it to be. And when I got in there, and it's like, all right, you're asking me Cisco, information about Cisco when it wasn't even part of, what we were talking about. I was supposed to be hired for as a vulnerability manager. And, it kind of threw me off. So I wish that employers weren't so picky, is I guess is the biggest thing when it comes down to. And I wish that they would give people a chance, especially looking at their background and knowing, let's say that you had a hard time getting back into the industry. I was laid off for almost a year. I was really getting discouraged because, I'm like, what's going on here? I started looking outside. Maybe I shouldn't be in technology anymore because I just couldn't understand it. So that's why I'm very grateful for this Tech Ready program because it gave me that boost to continue, with my passion. So that would be my biggest thing. Don't be so picky. Give somebody a chance. Get if you have them in you're interviewing them, you know, what's the worst that can happen? You give them a chance. If it doesn't work out, then you put that up front. You say, hey, listen, I need you to learn this. If you can't do it, then this is going to be the stipulation why we would have to let you go. And
Thanks, Rich.
That's where I'm at. Thank you.
Keep an open mind. Yeah, I like that. Alexi, keeping on the thread of sort of specific skill sets, and someone who had sort of a different education versus what you were going for, what are some recommendations to employers to help you sort of allow them to understand the skills that you have procured sort of outside the formal education process?
Yes, thank you. Good question. So my original background was military. Actually, healthcare. I was Army medic for 16 years. Quite fascinating. Then, went on GI Bill to school. So healthcare, we have like a lot of healthcare guys, people here. So, and I agree, I'm gonna steal Lexi's thunder about diversity. I read multiple articles that are currently to avoid groupthink for like, for some of the firms to get in trouble, because they kind of like look like they have like tunnel vision. So getting somebody from different industries, they can bring different perspectives. Like, using MedChart in a hospital is not that different from using Salesforce. Like it's very, very two very, very similar systems. Um, a good example is was a Game Boy was created in Nintendo by an individual called Gunpei Yokoi. He was not an IT guy. He was like not. He had no higher education. No Nokia, Nintendo, sorry, hired him, and he was the like chief maker of. So you look up that story. It's quite amazing. But it's an example of that there should be like some kind of diversity of bringing people from different fields to create that different perspective. I think big one, and this is where like I've been to Europe. I lived in Europe abroad as well, so that's where I'm originally from. Co-ops, having like basically while you're going to school, basically creating some kind of work where you like work part-time, 20, 30 hours to get that experience, and for a company also give like a sample. It doesn't sound really well, but basically get an idea of who this person is, give him opportunity, but also help him build experience. So it's kind of a win-win situation instead of like all the way hiring somebody full-time off the bat and waiting until they get a degree. Like my issue was I was looking for a job and like, well, you should wait until you get a degree, kind of a lot. And I was like, well, the hiring process takes time, right? So, having that gap is not helpful and stressful. We finish school, and like trying to find a job, anything, and there's nothing, right? A lot of getting interviews, while you're going to your finals and going through interviews is stressful. Whereas having something you hang on already. So in my workplace, I was hired, thanks to Mark, I was hired in my final semester. That was very good, great peace of mind, knowing that I'm working, I already have a job. I kind of know what I'm gonna want to do. So finance, I'm still in finance, I'm still working in income, looking at income statements from data perspective. So it gave a good blend and it kind of gives me a direction of where I want to go. Co-ops, basically the co-ops and chips, maybe just hiring people part-time. We have some people in iCapital that were hired from totally different fields, getting foot in the door, working part-time. And it was and it again, building experience, getting an idea of who this person is. Yeah, thank you.
Great. Yeah, I think internships is a great way to for both the employer and the candidate to learn a little bit about the organization and the work they're going to do. So at this time, I want to open it up to the audience to see if there's any additional questions you would like to ask of the candidates and the participants in the Tech Ready program.
Um, I would like to add something um, for the participants. I just don't get discouraged, okay? I know that it's hard. It is hard even for us as business owners in the tech industry, just to get a contract, to get some company to understand the importance of IT and IT in their environment. Just quickly, I want to share a story. Again, thanks, Mark, Patricia. Thank you so much. I recently, through this program, I'm also a participant of the program and in the partnership. Um, I met a lady that it was pretty much in your position, Richard. She's now Monday. She has to be at 9 o'clock out of state to do her first risk assessment with me. So so don't get discouraged. The opportunities are there, and although I'm in a small company, through this program, I was able to find it. I was able to give it an opportunity, so again, there's always opportunities. All right, just be on the lookout, and just don't get discouraged. Okay, we are here. We see you guys. We understand, and there's always opportunities. All right, thanks.
Great words of encouragement, Darwin. Thank you very much. Anyone else have any questions?
I just want to I know that Amy's on the call. Amy Feast at Southern has supported a lot of the training programs that are delivered to the Tech Ready through the Good Jobs Challenge Grant. And just want to thank Amy for being a great partner and being on board for all of the twists and turns that Mark has thrown your way in supporting this program, and offer an opportunity, Amy, for you to sort of weigh in and talk a little bit about what Southern has been able to do from the education side to support the program.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we are really excited. Actually, I am so proud to hear from all four of these amazing individuals have gone through our program in various capacities and have done a really amazing job with their learning. I talk to their instructors all the time, and they're just really, I get such positive feedback from the students that Mark puts in our classes from our instructors. They're eager, they're enthusiastic, they are hungry to learn, they are engaged with our training. And it's great to see. I can't say enough about our partnership also with the workplace and with Mark. I joke with Mark once in a while that I actually probably talk to him more than I talk to my husband some days. It's a real collaborative partnership where we really individualize what every student needs, and we make sure everyone's being successful. And we really do. We're just honored that we're able to see these outcomes. Southern's really committed to moving into this space of short-term training. And really, I think this has been a catalyst for us to develop the training that's really needed in the industry. And we're just really excited to be given this opportunity, and just really look forward to many more students coming through our program and many more success stories. Mark will enthusiastically send me a text. We got another job. We got another job. We got another job. And they come so frequently. And it's just so rare to see so many successes like that. And so we're just really excited. And I'm so proud of all of you for being here today and telling your stories. But for your persistence to just really make sure that you are job ready and not just throwing your hands up in the air, but really realizing that, you need to invest in yourself, and you've all done that. So thank you for this opportunity.
Thanks, Amy. Really great to hear from you. All right. I don't see any other questions in the chat. Does anybody else want to comment or ask a direct question to any of the panelists on either their journey? We're going to hear from Mark a little bit later about how you can tap into this talent pipeline. All right. Well, I'll let Jack close this out.
Thanks, Patricia. Well, thanks everybody for taking the time to listen in, and especially for the panelists and for all the participants in the Tech Ready program. Lexi, Timothy, Richard, Alexi, all great stories and insights. So thank you for sharing those. As Patricia said, that Mark's going to talk a little bit more about how employers can get involved and gain great access to talent like you've heard from today. But first, I think we're going to take a quick shift and a step back to look at the bigger picture. And Madison's going to walk you through what's happening in the tech labor market, and what we can expect looking ahead. So I'm pleased to introduce Madison. She's from the Business Higher Education Forum, and she'll share a snapshot of 2016 tech workforce. So Madison, over to you.
Great. Thanks so much. Hopefully you can see my screen okay. Is it?
It's great.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm Madison Myers. I'm our manager of workforce partnerships with the Business Higher Education Forum. If you haven't heard of us, we're a national membership organization of business and higher education leaders, and we really work together to identify emerging skills and also co-develop pathways that address talent gaps. We have a solutions lab, which is where we do a lot of our initiatives work. One of them being build and scale regional and cross-sector workforce initiatives. And we do that in different states, one of them being Connecticut. You may have heard of the Tech Talent Accelerator. We work with the New England Board of Higher Education on that initiative. So if you have any questions, feel free to email me on BGF. But getting into the data, I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up AI. I know we're all talking about it. For a long time, businesses have been experiencing challenges finding talent that has the necessary skills to succeed in the workplace and also to grow their businesses. And so that has been a challenge already. But I think AI, as we know, is really going to disrupt and expand and accelerate those existing skills gaps that are there for companies. So businesses are really going to have to take action in upskilling, reskilling, and also learners are going to have to take action in getting new training that addresses these AI skills that are needed in the workplace now. There's a bunch of data out there about how much AI is going to disrupt the workforce. We have World Economic Forum saying 2/5 of skill sets will be transformed or outdated in the next 5 years. We have LinkedIn saying that 70%. So a little bit of differences, but one thing's for certain is that AI is definitely going to disrupt a need for upskilling, reskilling, and curriculum updates. Lightcast did a little bit of research on what jobs have already been disrupted by AI and by other things as well. And they found that, over a 2-year period, the jobs and occupations that have had the most change in their skills makeup have been tech occupations and STEM occupations. So you can see on the right this list of occupations that have been disrupted the most. All of them, or for the most part, are tech occupations. So we know that tech jobs are going to have a lot of impact due to AI, as well as other jobs. So I think we're seeing it in tech first and also more accelerated. But despite what we've heard about, tech jobs being stalled, hiring being stalled, we've heard about some layoffs of other things. And so, but PwC did this research and found that information communication and technology jobs are the ones that actually are posting the most AI skills in their job postings. And so this disruption of AI doesn't necessarily mean that these jobs are disappearing. We know AI is going to take some jobs. We know that AI is going to create jobs. But we also know that AI is going to augment work and just change the skills makeup within the jobs. And I think that's really what we're seeing for tech occupations, is that it's not necessarily taking all of the jobs, but there are going to be a lot of reskilling needs. And so something to keep an eye on. But it's not all bleak. There's new data out from PwC that showed how much of a wage premium that AI skills bring to workers. So talking about all occupations and jobs, if you have AI skills, you have a 56% wage premium. But when we're talking about technology professionals, you can see this 95% wage premium if you have AI skills. So really significant. It's not all bleak. If you have AI skills, it's actually, it's going to benefit your career in multiple different ways. So how does this relate to Connecticut's labor market? Connecticut had about 8,000 job postings over the past year. This is from the Stanford AI Index for AI-related jobs. And that might seem like a small number compared to these other states, but Connecticut is small. So it's pretty significant. That's about 1.64% of the state's job postings over the past year that are looking for AI skills. If you compare that to the top state, I think it's Washington, the percentage is like 3%. So it seems like a small percentage, but it's actually Connecticut's pretty significant in terms of AI job postings. If on the left here, it's showing the top entry-level job titles that are requesting AI skills in Connecticut. As I mentioned, there are a lot of tech jobs, as we would imagine, but we're also seeing these AI skills being needed across industry, as we've heard, and that's going to continue to increase. We can see like business management analyst, curriculum designer, marketing specialist. So this is going to continue to increase, but tech jobs, as we know, are still going to need those AI skills. So on to the labor market data. I'm going to start Connecticut statewide and then go into Southwest region. But so about a year ago, we shared some labor market data on entry-level tech jobs in Connecticut and Southwest Connecticut. So I want to share a little bit about how the labor market has changed in the past year and just some things to keep an eye out for. So there's a lot going on in this slide, but I want to point you to the number of job postings for entry-level tech occupations in the past year in Connecticut statewide. We've seen a little bit of a decrease this year from last year, but it's not hugely significant. We also know that tech hiring has stalled a little bit nationwide, especially for entry level, and also just hiring has stalled in general. So it's not too concerning to see this decrease a little bit. Something that we know about tech jobs in Connecticut for entry level is that a lot of them are posted by companies outside of the tech industry. So a software developer working at a financial firm or healthcare. And so that's something significant, and that hasn't changed in Connecticut. We still have a lot of these jobs being outside of the traditional tech companies. The regions that are posting the most of these tech jobs are going to be the Hartford and then also the Bridgeport-Stamford region. So what types of education and experience requirements are needed for these entry-level roles? Most of them are looking for a bachelor's degree, or they don't list an education requirement. And then if we look at experience on the right, that's something that Mark touched on. This is something that we saw last year, and also we're seeing this year, is that most of these entry-level jobs are actually looking for 2 to 3 years of experience. This is entry level, we're talking 0 to 3 years. And so almost like 80% of them are looking for that 2 to 3 years. So just relying on the importance of work integrated learning so that learners can get those short-term experiences to put on their resume so that they can land that entry-level job. They have some skills and experiences on their resume so that they can get that 2 to 3 years of experience that employers are looking for. But this hasn't changed in the past year. What industries are posting for these jobs, entry-level tech jobs? As I mentioned, 70% are outside of the tech industry. A lot of them in finance and insurance, which we would expect in Connecticut. We know that's a big industry. We see a lot in an increase in this admin support and waste management. What that is a lot of temp agencies can fall under here, as well as staffing companies. And so we know that sometimes healthcare will turn to a temp agency or a staffing company to find tech talent. So that's what that's showing. We also have manufacturing, and then healthcare and others here. That hasn't changed much. What are the top entry-level occupations or job titles that are being posted? This hasn't changed much either. I mean, I think we're going to expect to see a little bit more of that as we see AI start to make its way through the landscape. But software developers and computer support specialists are the most in-demand entry-level positions across the state. 31% of Connecticut's entry-level tech job postings are for those two roles. And we also see things like data, cyber, other things that we would expect at the entry level. But I did want to show that we talked about there being a slight decline in the entry-level job postings for tech occupations, but there are some occupations that are also increasing in relevance. These numbers may seem small, but compared to other occupations that may have shown a decrease, these are the ones that are increasing in relevance. We see things like artificial intelligence engineer. Again, this is at the entry level, technology consultant, business intelligence analyst, software QA engineer. Something I thought that was interesting is the software developer manager, which I know doesn't seem like a lot of postings, but actually we work in Washington State where we know that they have a ton of, that's a big tech industry there. And so we can kind of look at some trends there and see how it might impact other regions a little bit further on. And in that region, software developer manager at the entry level has increased significantly in that state. And so their hypothesis is that that's due to managing actually the AI. And so that's something that we might see more of happening in Connecticut, and just something to keep an eye on for emerging types of roles. And then what are the most in-demand skills for these entry-level tech occupations across Connecticut? It's interesting because we've heard a lot about, AI is going to take over coding. And so, but we do still have a lot of programming languages that are in high demand for these entry-level tech roles, as well as projected to grow. So this light blue line is showing how much that skill is projected to grow over time. And this is interesting because a lot of times we see some that are declining, but all of these are projected to grow. So all of these tech skills that we hear a lot about being taken over by AI are actually projected to grow. And that could change, but just something to keep an eye out, as well as some of the foundational skills related to software development and engineering. And then we also see, I thought it was interesting, a lot of like project management related skills that are showing up in tech job postings and at the entry level. Now I'll share a little bit about the Southwest region, so your region. A lot of this is reflected in the state, it's going to be mirrored in the statewide, but there are some differences in your region. To start, there's about 1,200 job postings. That has barely changed. So, compared to the state level, you're actually a little bit more stable in terms of your number of entry-level tech roles that are being posted. It's also interesting that 2/3 of the jobs are outside of the tech industry, but it's a little bit less than at the statewide. So you're going to have more tech companies that are posting for these jobs in the Southwest region. And all of these are looking for 2 to 3 years of experience, and a lot of them are looking for a bachelor's degree, although that's not on the slide. That's what the postings are looking for. The top companies, as I mentioned, most of them are going to be in professional services, or KPMG, Deloitte, those types of companies, and also information. We also have this admin support and waste management that's showing up again and is increased in relevance, which again, that could be temp agencies or staffing companies. Finance and insurance, we know is important to your region, so that's showing up as well. Again, for the top occupations for Southwest region, these are very similar to what we saw in Connecticut, very similar to what we saw last year as well. computer support specialists, software developers. Those are going to be the important roles, as well as some data related roles in cyber as well. The top entry level jobs that are, have experienced growth over the past year is going to be pretty similar to what we saw at the state level. We still have the technology consultant, we have artificial intelligence engineer, QA, product owner. These are all pretty similar to what we saw at the state level for emerging type roles. And then the top skills, again, these are also very similar, but I think I want to point out again that we still see this project management coming up really high. Again, 17% of the entry-level tech jobs are looking for project management in the past year, and that's really significant. We see some of these skills that are decreasing here, as I mentioned, but for the majority, a lot of these tech-related skills are growing in demand and projected to grow over the next 2 years. So I'll stop there, and my contact information is here. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them, but I'll turn it back to Mark.
Actually, I want to open it up for questions. If anybody listening in has any comments, questions for Madison on the data that was presented. I will say I'm curious, Madison, about the role of tech consultant coming up really high. So do you have a sense of what that is as an entry level role?
I don't have a sense. I can definitely pull some extra data and show like what the in-demand skills are, but that's something unique to Connecticut in terms of comparing it to Washington State, where I just pulled similar data. Tech consultant did not show up barely at all. So yeah. I do wonder if it's due to those professional services companies looking for tech consultants. I wonder if that's sure. a job title that they used a lot is my guess.
Yeah. Jack, I don't know if you have any insight into that as an Indeed person, the role of tech consultant coming up as an entry level role.
Yeah, I'd have to go query that specific title to get you that data. So I don't have it right now, but I can certainly with it.
It was clear. I know it came up obviously in the previous data that Business Higher Education Forum had pulled for us. The other question I have, when you were thinking about, or when you were showing the slide about the education requirements, and there was, I don't know, maybe 20% that indicated no education requirements within their job posting. Yes. Do you have any insight into sort of what those kinds of opportunities are, or why there wouldn't be an education requirement posted alongside or within a job posting?
Yeah, I think it's interesting because it's something we see a lot, but it doesn't necessarily mean the company isn't asking for an education requirement. It just means they might not list it on their job posting for whatever reason. Okay. And so it is something that we've heard anecdotally that companies will put, they don't list an education requirement, but they're going to take the certain education levels over other candidates. And so they might prioritize certain things, especially, we hear a lot about the disconnect between what the hiring manager says is okay versus what the subject matter expert who's actually going to be hiring or taking on that team member says. And so I think that is a disconnect between, I think the subject matter experts a lot of times are more likely to say, okay, we're good with any education listed. And then maybe the hiring manager is that roadblock for whatever reason. So I think that is something just to keep an eye out for. That I think it's getting better and it's changing, but it's still a lot of work to be done.
Yeah,
on the company side for sure.
Great. Any other thoughts or comments on the slides Madison pulled up? Okay. Well, I'm going to go ahead, Mark. Thank you, Madison. I'm going to go ahead, Mark, and share the slides for your part. I hope you can see that okay.
You can see it's a little small.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let me fix that. Give me 1 second. Does that work a little bit better?
No, I don't know if it's just me. Is it small for everyone?
No, it looks good.
Everybody else is good. Yep.
It's probably with me. I've been having internet issues, so I've been playing tech at the same time. So I do apologize. So thank you so much again. And I want to just start saying how proud I am of all the participants, and especially the people here in the panel. They all have came in here and came to the program and landed their trust to the partnership to get them to the jobs that they have right now. So I want to say thank you for that. When I'm a stranger to all of you, and then we got to know you all, and then saw how incredibly talented and eager you all were to try to capture what our CEO from the workplace always says, the America that was promised. So I hope that this partnership was a good first step for you all to capture that America that was promised. So in the Good Jobs Challenge Tech Ready Career Training Program placements, the number is now different. It's not 97 anymore. As of this morning, we're now at 98 job placements.
There we go. Updating in real time.
Updating in real time.
Nice job, Mark.
Thank you. Got a call at 6 o'clock in the morning of an eager participant from the reentry population. And he's back on track. And he was very grateful, manager trainee. And if you can see the companies that people are being hired at, it just shows that this program is cross-sector because tech is everywhere. And you can see it from Lexi. You can see it and Alexi, where the jobs they're at right now, right? Who would think tech will be in finance? But it is. Who would think tech will be in the nursing program? It is. And these are kind of things, and even for Rich Collins and for Timothy, people look at he's working at a financial area where Rich is working at in the credit union area. They don't see that the tech is very integral to making sure everything's moving forward. Or for Timothy, inside the healthcare area for the hospital specialty care. But these are a bunch of these companies here that we've gotten people in, and they are active and they're working. And these companies or institutions are something where it shows that yes, you can be entry level, but with the right skills, determination, you can get to where you need to be. So we'll go to the next slide. So and for the Good Job Challenge grant for the Tech Ready Career Training Program, we have over 250 people enrolled in the program in a multitude of trainings. I believe in doing cross training. I try to take people where they are, but I try to add some more skill sets to them so they can leave with 3, 4, or 5 certifications or badges. So they can actually be undeniable. The training is really to try to make you undeniable. So you can go into project management, generative AI, Python, SQL, cloud. So you can have your AWS cloud practitioner and your solutions architect. You can go into CMMC, the cybersecurity maturity model. That's for the Department of Defense. We actually have a person that has graduated and got their certification and is now getting their security clearance. So now, in this participant named Tavon, he also has SQL, Python, generative AI, and cloud. So now when he gets a security clearance, he's going to be a very employable individual in this market. And then if he doesn't like doing the CMMC, he can pivot to wherever he wants to go. So he's not stuck. And we have CompTIA certifications, CompTIA A+, CompTIA Security Plus, and others. But this is where the beauty of that program is that you can have so many trainings and now you're not stuck. You're not saying, because a lot of times you go to a job, you say, I'm only there because I'm getting paid and I can't go anywhere else. Now you can go to different areas and not be stuck. Next slide, please. So again, 250 people enrolled. And the really big thing is that we have 75% college grads that have college degrees are in the program. The national unemployment rate for college grads is at 30%, right? And one of the biggest problems is that a lot of times when you go to college, you're learning the theory, but then sometimes it happens that you're not getting the skill sets that is needed to get a job. When the Stanford Partnership held, and I always say this, it was an integral meeting March of 2024, a CEO of a company stood up and said, these college kids don't have the skills needed to get a job. We don't want to hire them. And we have to now start doing something where we're melding workforce development and degree program. And that's where Amy has been a great partner from Southern Connecticut State University because I feel that she gets it. She gets what I'm talking about. That's why we were able to meld really well to provide those kind of trainings to college grads, because that we're having it's more of an epidemic of college grads not getting jobs. And you want to, there's going to be a bigger conversation that talks about what is the ROI in my investment in paying for school, and what am I going to get in my degree, and how am I going to make the money to actually get myself where I need to be? So again, I'm a big kudos. I'm very grateful to have Amy as a partner and Patricia as a partner. One, Patricia would be able to have someone to create a forum to actually get that information out, so that helped me inform my trainings. But then also Amy too, to be, as she says, she talks to me all the time, and where we need to change and pivot and be agile. Now, in this program, we have 50 people right now ready to work, right? They're finishing up their training, they're doing their micro internships to build their skill sets to get hired. So we have a great group of people. Their resumes are ready, their cover letters are ready, and we'll get them ready for your interview. They just need to be in front of you as an employer to be hired. And these individuals are hungry to be honest. You see, I always say four of my champions are in the call right now. Actually, five, because Darwin's one of the our participants as well, and he's doing very well. And I think he's working with one of our other champion in there. Amy in there too, for doing the cybersecurity. So you can see how, I always say iron sharpens iron. So we're sharpening these people up to be that great blade, to be that value option to your team. And we work with reentry, right? And we go cross sector. So one of our reentry individuals is in manufacturing, because AI is everywhere. And one of our reentry people right now, a reentry person has a job, and this is the third one, is now is going to become a manager. And it was life-changing for him, from having a misdemeanor and not able to get anything, to now saying, Mark, I have money to take care of myself again. He's not going to reoffend. So this is what the great changes of this program. Next slide, please. So, the Tech Ready Career Training Program, I call it the 360 coverage. We do employment search. So we try to help you with that, because you're going to look for your own job, but we're going to take your skills and do a lot of employment search. We do the skills analysis. The skills analysis is really to know about you, right? We have to understand where you're coming from, because one thing I don't believe is a meat grinder and sending you to say, okay, you're going to do CompTIA A+, you're going to do security plus, you're going to do this. If it's not you, then we have to personalize it to make sure that you're going to be successful in it. So we take your skills and say, okay, now we're going to take these classes here, and then we're going to give you these maybe micro internships here, and then we're going to give you a little bit of this to now get you to where you need to be. And then we use AI for analysis of your data. How many times have you gone to Indeed and you're gone to any job board? You say, I'm qualified for this job. No, you're not. Right. So it's a harsh reality to say that to yourself. I'm not really qualified. So then we use AI analysis to do an objective view and say, this is what you're qualified for. But Timothy said, I will send you job postings. And I sent him, I think, over 100. And he was overwhelmed. And I send that to a lot of people now, to all our newer participants. They're like, that was just too much for me to handle. I just got a text message just now from one of our participants that, you sent me 200 job postings. Please stop. I'm like, no. We're going to apply to all the jobs. So you get yourself a job. You want a job. We want to get you to a career. We rewrite your resume. We make it, because how many times that we have resumes that are just off the wall? It doesn't make any sense. So I talk to and I lean to individuals like John Bemis and other industry leaders to say, what are you looking for in your resume? So we make things ATS compliant, because a lot of times people forget that a recruiter's only going to read your resume for 30 seconds. So you're doing all these elaborate things, putting like little music, fantastic things there and little pictures. They don't care. They want to know your skills, what can you do, how you're going to be a great value option. We do mock interviews. So like I did with Timothy and others, I will get your job posting, find the interview questions, ask you those questions, and give you the answers to them, so you don't get nervous. And then we work on it so you can become confident in your in your interview, especially in video conference when you're doing it because it's not as personal, right? So we do about 2 to 3, and then when I feel that you're ready, you go out there. And I'll give you an example. Jose that works is from the reentry program. He's in a manufacturing company. We did the mock interview, and then he accidentally butt dialed me, and then every question that the person was asking, he was able to answer. And then I was hearing the whole thing, cheering him on. He called me and said, I did it. He got the job right then and there. $20 an hour, third shift. So he's going to get nighttime differential. And it was life changing for him. Employer outreach, I'm always contacting employers. And then if you're at a job, I'm going to talk to your employer. Your employer is going to meet me and we're going to have a conversation. Lexi knows that very well because I met the dean of the nursing program, and I met her boss. And I said, hey, Lexi was in the program, is in the program, and I'm going to be checking due to the grant. I have to make sure that you all are still there. I'm going to be checking up on you for a whole year and over to make sure that you are in your job. If you have a problem at your job, and help you work through it. Because the biggest thing we want to do is make sure that you just don't have a job. We want you to have longevity at your job, right? It's not that I've only been there for 2 weeks or 6 months, and then I say toodaloo. I'm there to say what's going on and how can we work through it. I remember Timothy calling me from his first week of work, what he thought, what I thought about it, and we talked about it. And we probably actually we're going to be setting up some calls to do that. And Lexi has known that I've shown up at her job a couple of times. If any other issues have happened, we talk about it, we work through it to basically become the professionals that I know that they can become. Next slide. So, for employers, if you want to know more about our great candidates, or if people want to take on the program, I'm not a hard person to find. You see my picture there. It's not my mugshot, but this is one day I've never been incarcerated. But you can email me at mlazarus@workplace.org. And that's my personal cell. And all my participants have my personal cell. You send me a text, I will get back to you. Because I believe that I believe in personability. I believe in that kind of case management that you can reach me at any time. And I will call you on a Saturday. I will call you on a Sunday. Some of the participants know that they got a text message from me or calls from me and say, what's going on? Well, I haven't heard from you. But because that's the only way I see of making people successful. And maybe because it's from my background, Mark doesn't sleep. I don't really sleep 3 to 5 hours a night, really.
I don't know if you were here when Daryl was doing the welcome, but he did say you're the hardest working man in this program, and it's definitely true.
I appreciate it. It's because maybe because when I used to run martial arts schools, I used to run a martial arts school in Greenwich and Orange, and I used to train boxers at Quest Gym. So I only have a few people that have their black belts under me. So I take it very seriously when people train under me, and I want to make sure that they're coming out there, that they're saying, oh, you're trained, came under the program with Mark, Patricia, and Amy. Oh, there's good stock. And we're getting that now. Tech systems, their recruiters say, oh, when Mark sends you out there, oh, they're good people. And that's what I want, because that's how I feel. I take that background from my martial arts background and I try to apply it to all my participants. Because then each of you all that have jobs right now got your black belts, right? Because you guys got a job. Now it's time to get you to the second degree black belt to help you all become masters your own selves. And as I told you all, I said, pay it forward, right? Because this program ends next year in 2026, right? So then it'll be up to you all and up to the employers too, to pay it forward, to give everyone a chance at the America that was promised.
Thank you so much, Mark. Really appreciate that and the work that you do. I think, some takeaways that we're hoping our business leaders on the call are walking away from is that this program is delivering quality candidates for the jobs that are in demand in this region and Connecticut as a whole. It is a dynamic program. Mark is not only working hard to provide these really intensive wraparound services to participants, but he's also working hard to make sure that the program itself is what is in demand and not just sort of checking the box. Here's a tech program, and we'll try to find you a job on when you're done as best we can. It's really He's really giving his all to making sure that the quality is on both the training side and the candidate side. So we really encourage you, if you do have hiring demand, or if your peers are saying, man, I just can't find people with these certain skills, definitely connect with Mark, because we've got some candidates that we can put in front of you and prepare to be in front of you, to land those jobs. Really want to thank everyone for being here today. Jack, thank you for facilitating the panel. Lexi, Alexi, Rich, and Tim, for sharing your stories, and Madison for pulling that data for us so quickly. And Mark, obviously, always with your partnership. Just some closing comments I just wanted to say before we give you back the rest of your day. For those of you that have been involved in the sector partnership work, with regards to convening and talking about priorities and developing action items and working towards some shared goals and shared priorities for the region. We are going to bring us all back together, specifically industry leaders, in the fall to set the priorities for the rest of this fiscal year, 25-26. This grant ends at the end of June 26, but it doesn't mean the sector partnership ends. And we really want to engage industry leaders in identifying what the next chapter is for this work as a sector partnership in Fairfield County. So stay tuned, be on the lookout for invites for those sorts of conversations. Our industry partners, right, our higher ed partners, our agencies, state and local agencies, we really want to get together with you too and think about ways that we can support the sector and the industry within it. And so that'll be a separate conversation that we'll set up in the fall and continue to engage and define what this work looks like next. So that's what we have coming up. I hope you all have great summers. Enjoy the warmth if you like the warmth, and stay cool if you don't. And we will certainly speak with you again soon. Thank you all. Thanks, Lori.
Thanks so much.
Be well. Take care.
Have a good one.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lexi. It was so nice to meet you.
Of course.
Good luck
Likewise.
with your role. I really appreciate you being here today. Thanks, Patrick.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, you take care. I think that's it. Okay.